Good afternoon, my dear students. How are you? I'm fine. I hope you are fine, and I'm glad to see you. You too? Let's begin our lesson. I'm your English teacher, 5v-класс. The aims of the lesson: you will learn to speak about some weird laws. Your hearing and speaking will develop. You will learn to walk independently. Class, what these pictures are talking about? Gives this person one word characterization. What kind of person is he? Yes, he is strange. There is another word. He is weird. Strange and weird are synonyms. We will translate these words in Russian, странный, and in Kyrgyz, Kızıltay, Ölüm. So today's our new theme is weird laws. And now, my dear students, let's watch the video about weird laws in history.
Weird laws in history. There were some strange laws made in the past, but are they as strange as they seem? Let's look at some of them now. From 1886 to 1948, it was an arrestable offense to buy or sell margarine in Canada. This made sense as it was brought in to protect the Canadian butter industry. Some Canadian states could not let go of their hatred for margarine, as it was illegal to sell buttered color margarine in Ontario until 1995. In the United Kingdom, a law dating back to 1313 does not allow people to wear armor or carry any kind of weapon inside the Houses of Parliament unless they are part of the security detail guarding it. It is thought that King Edward II brought in this law to curb the growing tactic of rowdiness and intimidation of armed force that some of the nobles were regularly starting to use during the parliamentary debates. The law is so loosely worded that it is still in force today, as it is deemed to cover guns and bulletproof vests, as they are modern weaponry and armor. In 1541, an Act for the Maintenance of Artillery and Debarring of Unlawful Games was passed, due to the great fear that the once legendary archery skills of the English was in serious decline. The law stipulated the following things. All men over 17 years of age from all towns and cities must practice archery every week for 2 hours at the appropriate designated areas. All children between 7 and 17 years must possess a bow and 2 arrows. Men over 17 must possess a bow and 4 arrows, so they might help defend the country in times of peril. The bow should be of good quality and be made from elm, ash, or cedar. Foreigners are allowed to own a bow, but not participate in the practice or be allowed to take their bows and arrows outside of the country. Understandably, with the advent of muskets becoming more widespread and the development of ever more sophisticated weaponry, the legislation was heavily watered down over the next century. Then finally, in 1863, it was removed from the statute books altogether. The Russian Emperor Peter the Great, who reigned from 1672 to 1725, brought in many new laws, including one to tax anyone who wanted to grow or maintain a beard. This was brought in because Peter the Great was impressed by the European fashion of being clean-shaven. At first, it was met with strong opposition by the Church, who saw this law as blasphemous, but eventually they relented, and the annual beard tax was to remain in force until 1772, when Catherine II repealed the law. In Arizona in 1855, it was made illegal to hunt or shoot camels. At first glance, this may sound pretty strange, as camels are not native to that part of the world, nor did did Arizona even have any zoos at that time, but there was a good reason for passing such a law. At the time, the U.S. Army was experimenting with using camels instead of mules on the more hot and desert-type regions of the United States, and they chose Arizona to test out their new camel units. It all made a lot of sense, as camels could carry 2 or 3 times more payload than the average mule, and could travel in desert conditions for up to 85 miles without water. If a mule was to attempt to do this, it would be dead from dehydration after only having done a quarter of that distance. The experiment ultimately failed, as the camels proved to be temperamental, and controlling them in large military formations proved impossible.
And now, my dear students, I will tell you about today's Greek laws. Let's begin. In Victoria, only a qualified electrician can change a light bulb. It's illegal to change it yourself unless you are a qualified electrician. If not, you would have to pay a fine up to $10. In Milan, you have to smile at all times, except during funerals and hospital visits. If you don't, you have to pay a fine. Winnie the Pooh is banned from playgrounds in Tucson in Poland. Local authorities say Winnie is inappropriate for little children because Pooh is partly undressed. In England, people cannot die in their house permanent. Italy is a small town in Italy and people cannot kiss in the morning car there. In Melbourne, Australia, you cannot vacuum your house between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. during weekdays, and 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. during the weekends. In Russia, you have to move your car before you drive it, or you will have to pay a fine. In Switzerland, washing the toilet after 10 p.m. in an apartment building is illegal. The Swiss government considers it as noise pollution. In Canada, by law, 1 out of every 5 songs on the radio have to be sung by a Canadian. It's against the law not to walk your dog at least 3 times a day in Torino, in Italy. A law passed in 2009 in Japan states that it's illegal to be fat. Yes, you cannot be fat in Japan. And now, my dear students, you should repeat the tongue twisters to train our language. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Tragedy strategy. 6 sharp, smart sharks. strange, strategic, statistics. 3 free fleas made 3 fleas free. The bloke's bike's back brake blocks broke. Send toast to 10 pence stout saves 10 tall fence. Are you copper-bottoming them, my man? No, I'm aluminiuming them, mum. Fresh fried fish. Fish fresh fried. Fried fish fresh. Fish fried fresh. Seven sleazy shysters in shark-skin suits sold sheared seal skins to seasick sailors.
And now, let's repeat today's learned information. You should answer the questions. First, why Winnie the Pooh banned from playgrounds? Because of his color, because he's partly undressed. And why? Is it because of his color? No. Winnie the Pooh is banned from playgrounds because he is partly undressed. Good job. Next, when did the law on the illegality of being fat in the Japanese states pass? It's in 2019. Yes, it is in 209. Where people cannot die. Yes, of course, it's in England. And where? In the street? In the House of Parliament. Yes. In England, people cannot die in the House of Parliament. Excellent. Did you like the lesson? You can answer the question with using the smiles. First, yes, I like it. Second, it was word. Third, I didn't understand. Fourth, I learned a lot today. Your homework will be exercise 3 at page 249. Look at the following rules and rewrite them using can, can't, have to, and don't have to. For example, In Venice, you cannot feed the pigeons. In Venice, it's illegal to feed the pigeons. Today's lesson is over. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye. See you.